situated, you see JKD stretching, and we are off. The games are officially underway. Wesley so starts with the white pieces. We get a Sicilian. I'm 0% surprised about the opening because I just saw Jan-Krzysztof Duda use this against Fabiano Caruana game after game.
I remember JKD playing this as far back as I remember the under 18 World Youth. I think the under, when I was playing the under 14, I think we might have been playing the under 10, and he was already playing the Night Orb. But this guy is an expert in the truest sense of the word in the Night Orb, but Knight C6. Now, am I hallucinating, or is this a very uncommon way to develop a Knight in the Night Orb?
Yeah, and I think Knight A5, this I have not seen.
I guess the Knight's going to C4.
If you allow me, my Knight will gladly hop right in here with the Bishop's defense. Actually, he'll.
Knight C5, maybe. Knight C4, Knight C5. I've seen that's an old school idea, exploiting that pin against the D6 line to situate the Knight on C5.
Right, you're saying that there is a queen in line with the rook, so the rook wins that battle multiple times. So Knight C5 is possible here. But Duda goes right in. And Danya, I think this goes to show that allowing a capture on E6 and replacing it with a pawn, that's typically not the biggest deal because you're trying to fight tooth and nail for that D5 square, right?
Exactly, that plays right into Black's hand. It's important to recognize the rules for determining pawn structures in the Night Orb as you get to that rubber are completely different. You're fighting really lower squares here, and it's not about the aesthetic appeal of your pawns, and that's why we see Wesley sliding his bishop away. The fight over the D5 square is on.
And Donna, I have to say that I like the Knight on C4 a lot better than I would if it were on D7. I'm just going to drag these with the square, which is where it goes often. You go Knight D7, you bring a rook to C8, you bring your bishop to E7. Very calm, sort of natural developing moves, no huge risk in the early stages. But I like this Knight on C4 because watch out for a potential sacrifice on B2. Of course, not right now. You have to line up some pressure on the Knight on C3, C and all that good stuff. When I see a Knight on C4, I just store that information. Knight takes B2 at some point, maybe impossible.
Maybe slide the queen away to E1 and try to capture that knight before it wreaks any havoc on the position. Because if you play queen F2 here, you might come under some Knight takes C4 business instead. Wesley sliding his hand over to Rook C8, kind of move that would be conducive to an idea that you mentioned, Robert. But I feel like Wesley's holding this in store. The idea of going queen E1 and taking on C4. Knight takes C4 here needs to be calculated. No, it doesn't work. It's queen E4. So Duda does put something on the C1.
Yeah, I actually want to bring up the analysis board and show what Donnie was talking about. It's a very good point. When you see a bishop, like here, in line with another bishop, right? These bishops are staring each other down. You have to watch out for tactics. So, for example, if this queen went to F2 at some point, let's say here, you have to just look, is there a Knight G4 type of move, opening up the bishop's attack on one another and hitting queen on F2. So those ideas are all here. And Daniel pointed out correctly. Instead, we saw queen E1, which is on C4. Right, let me ask you, now that the B file is open, how much do you like the fact that you were able to take this knight?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, one of my two classical ideas here is the Knight D2, Knight F1, Knight E3. But I also want a filet mignon steak for a steakhouse right now, and I'm not going to get it. So Duda might have something to say about this by putting a rook on B8 and a queen on B7. And the issue is that Wesley has to be very careful about how he defends the B2 pawn. If he goes to B3, Duda's going to sack on B3 and checkmate him. Maybe he wants to drop his bishop back to C1, but that entails its own problems. Maybe D5. This gets very double-edged.
Yeah, I saw the eval bar just jump in Duda's favor, and we'll just sit on the position for a moment here and kind of think about it from a foreign point of view. And Daniel, this knight went to F1, like you said, trying to get to B3 into this D5 square. If we talk about ideal strategy, White would love to take on an F6 and then immediately put this knight to the D5 square play. Knight against bishop. You often hear bishops are better than knights, but not when the knight has a clear outpost. And a knight on D5 against a dark square bishop means that the knight is going to be the superior piece. But that is several moves away, and as you just pointed out, down moves like queen to B7, and then maybe in an eventual D5. You always have to be on the lookout for this D5 move. It's critical in the Sicilian. And if this bishop can land on A3 to increase the pressure down the B file, that would be
right. And Duda realizes D5 squares and everything, because even if Wesley positions a knight on D5, say knight E to D5, and the idea of putting bishop to g5, trying to distract that bishop on c1 from its critical role. That bishop on c1, it's like Atlas is holding the world on his shoulders. And if you're going to get distracted, that could lead to some major problems with the b2 pawn. So I would consider knight d7 in this position. I'm trying to include the knight in the attack, maybe also knight e8, knight c7, but opening up that line of negotiation between the dark squared bishop and the g5 squared instead, due to going full on frontal assault point, getting the rook to b6. Alright.
Yeah, this is he makes his intentions very clear. He's saying, I'm tripling, I am going to sack my b2 if you allow me for b. And the big issue, as you highlighted earlier, is b3 is not a possibility for white, because you do have 2 pawns protecting the square, but I also have a bishop in prime location to just sacrifice itself with b3. So when I play rook b6, you'll have to find another way to defend b2 and knight e4. I'm not satisfied with white's position, because after rook b6 also goes to b8, which trying to take this knight out. So already I believe Wesley is in a tough position. He plays knight g5, but he just actually, like you said, so b6 right b8 g5.
Well, I guess if you go to bishop takes the back to b8, then b6 goes to take the move the tension instead of bishop b8. Okay, so I guess what if Wesley plays g5 here? That effect? I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to get a pulse on the position. What does Duda want to do? Maybe he just wants to leave the knight on d5 entirely, so knight d7.
That's an idea you mentioned before, and Wesley doesn't allow it today. Like knight d5 is then like bishop d5. You point out the second.
Yeah, but maybe on the other hand, rook b6 is taking out queen c3. That could also be a thing, but again, on e5, that's where it's important somehow.
Bit of a strategy. How do I improve my bishop? My bishop on a6 staring into its pawn. The best move for black is pawn e5 for going on board, and that's that.
Yeah, if only we can imagine how much that would change.
You just say, hey,
One of your own.
let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, or bishop takes e5, that would be great.
Well, isn't that a new variant?
I was saying, I heard about that. And but you can also do that over the taking my out c3 here is a very tempting move, but then Wesley could play b3. And that pawn on b3 is significantly more solid than it would be with a pawn on this is maybe even a good pressure poker here. Not much is happening, but the stakes are incredibly high on both sides.
You're mentioning pressure cookers, you mentioned the staves. What you got here? What's going on here?
No, I got some granola here and then some coffee. You don't have to worry about Robert, I got all the best
I worry because I can't.
I know you. I care about you too. As we go incredibly competitive, we need to waste everyone's time. Robert has been
Words of affirmation.
needed it. Finally, I don't know about it.
Needed it, because otherwise that bishop is coming to c5, where it's going to get strapped.
Okay, so we can get this. By the way, 97 seconds, right? That's and 60 no. But the time is 30 seconds. Right, there's not going to have
I like that. I like that rook c4 idea as well, because try to strap it in a decent one. Also, I put it down to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
While this is playing, you can't win good position to consider good now without time on the clock and down to 26 seconds. And now he's sort of on the defensive right down there. He put his rooks on the c file, but they're not barreling through. They're just protecting as long as they're like,
yes, and h6. You haven't forgotten about the idea of this when I Wesley drop the time back at some point. So I can do that again. I'm trying to make it work in my position. But that's very hard to do in this atmosphere. We position the green. It's complicated. Fall asleep work. And then the attack has reinvigorated. So instead, it's a very hard environment to make things sort of
isolated, it can be attacked. But for now, here comes the D6 pawn as a main gambit versus the D-file. This is easier to play.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm putting in black because black can make the attacking move, but his position is kind of collapsing, so he's got 8 points to get him. That's what it's frustrating. It's like he does it. He's 7 by Wesley. He takes the lead up forward on him. And probably the D-file up against him. Double that. I will deliver a lot of things. That's what I'm putting on.
Yeah, that's what you call it. You can't take on other variations. Also, just slightly back. Watch out for A-B, bishop D5, rook B6. All of these type of attacking moves. And look at the clock. Wesley under 15 seconds now.
Retreating moves. A-B and rook A8 has got something to the 8 file.
Yeah, he's nervous with bishop E5 and trade. Okay, rook A8.
Rook A8, Queen A. Oh,
Queen A2?
Queen A2 and bishop G5.
Bishop G5.
That's gonna be big. Does this first.
93 back. Queen A2 for sure.
Wesley on the left, he's gonna move 2 seconds. Oh, he attacks the knight first, trying to get it out. Bishop D4, there'll be Queen A2.
Queen A2. Play Queen
Bishop
A2.
E3, Bishop E3. Oh, it was a
There's
decent
the
press on
G7.
it. Oh my goodness, Wesley's a devil.
There's some
Bishop E3 gonna move.
He wants to take, but the king runs away. Bishop E3 does nothing. Just take it.
Rook E3. Oh.
Queen C7. Watch out for H2.
Not over yet.
It almost was.
Bishop H5. He wants to play H5. I'm gonna.
Oh, I don't like that move.
Side.
I don't like E5.
Lots
All
of
light
his
squares.
battery F4 do that had also.
But this is looking good for black all of a sudden. Take a G4. Oh, he can't.
Get him out.
He's not doing it.
He's got 0.
How did he get that move off?
I don't understand. This is unbelievable action in this first game. Queen
Queen
E6.
E6.
Battery back up. E6 opens it up. That's correct. But now you would have stabilized it.
And don't blunder G7 with mate, right? That's the only thing. And black, despite being down a pawn, is better. Queen E6 and H4. I agree.
Oh, but he allowed G6 now. That's a... Okay, finally an endgame, of course.
Who's better? White's up a pawn, but no, white's not up a pawn. Take on G6.
Now activity for black. Rook H7.
Black looks great now.
Oh, black might be winning.
Rook G2, Bishop B3, and then F2 check. Oh,
C6. He's got to get his pawn in motion. How can you make H5 C6? Wesley's got to push it.
Okay, Rook C doesn't work. Rook is only move. Rook
C6 is
C6.
covered, so Rook 8 is not possible. Wesley's got to make a move.
That is huge. He wins the pawn. And now black's in the pawn.
This might be a draw, though. Rook
Done.
D5, Rook G2.
I feel like we're auctioneers here, and then
I
now
as well.
what happened is going to be a split. King E3, and how do you make progress?
Well, either side can still blunder a bishop. The bishop accidentally G6. Duda is going to try to win this. He's going to try to get his rook to the other side of the board, Robert. He's going to try to deliver a side check and get that king, pry it away from the bishop, but it's not easy to do that. Don't get mated. Bishop D4 was almost made.
But that's why I think Wesley's been really smart with putting his king on F4. That way, wherever the rook goes, the king goes to the opposite side.
Let me tell you, their hands are shaking. Mine are, and theirs are too. But when you're moving the mouse, it's like, you don't want a mouse flip here.
You know, it looks like I'm getting super red looking at this game, but I think that just I'm pretty calm right now, honestly. I've been enjoying the action. I'm feeling really at home.
This is amazing, and let's not forget, this is the first game. We could not have asked for a better opening salvo to this incredible match, and they're still going. I mean, they're trying to posturing here, but realistically, Black just doesn't have any attempt. The defense is very easy to take.
But I think that JKD is smart to play this on. We talked about how in the bullet portion, that's where he has his best chances. He's also up a pawn, so even if this were a classical game, why not play it on? The bishop on the bishop on H5 is defended. It defends everything. There's no risk. Okay, they finally
Final draw, but yeah, people should